Okay, 4.5, day 3, we're going to graph in factored form, and we're going to learn some facts about the behavior of graphs near their zeros, and this is going to help us get the area between our zeros without plugging in points every single time. Okay, so we're assuming x minus k to the n is a factor of f of x. Most of the time, n is 1. There's no exponent on it, which is fine. Okay, so they're saying if n is odd, meaning I have like x minus 3 to the third, because that's an odd power, or it could just be x minus 3. If I have a graph of f, I'm going to pick a random point, k. The graph will cross, f will cross the axis at x equals k. So it'll actually go through the point and do something like that. I don't know what else it'll do. Okay, now if n is even, the exponent is even. So maybe it's x minus 3 squared. It could be x minus 3 to the fourth. I'm going to have the same graph. I'm picking a random k value. Okay, the graph will touch but not cross the x-axis at x equals k. So it will touch the k, but it won't cross it, so it'll have to come back up. Or if it's coming from the bottom, it'll go back down. Okay, this is going to help us graph some of our graphs without using extra points. Okay, let's look at the example, and then you can see what information we're gonna do. Okay, given the polynomial in factored form, identify the indicated information, label the x-intercepts, and graph the polynomial. We've done most of this before. Okay, the zeros are the x values, and when we set it equal to 0, so this is gonna be x equals positive 2, x equals negative 1, and x equals 4. Okay, the degree of the polynomial. This is not in standard form, so it's a little bit trickier. So I'm gonna look at the highest degree term in each factor. So if I were to multiply this out, I would get x squared. And when I times it by x again, I would get x to the third. There would be a bunch of other stuff with it, but it would be x to the third. The degree or the exponent on x to the third is the 3, so this is odd. The x to the third is positive, so its leading coefficient is positive. Okay, let's graph the parts we know, and then we'll add on the part we don't know. Okay, so the zeros are at 2, negative 1, and 4. 1, 2, 3. It says label the x-intercepts. If you put the tick marks, you don't have to. If you don't, you should. So 2, negative 1, and 4. Okay, the end behavior, this is an odd function with a leading coefficient that is positive, so it's going to go up on the right. Since it's odd, it's going to do the opposite on the left. Okay, now the question is just what happens between the zeros. Okay, so between here and here, we normally plug in a number or use the y-intercept, and we can figure out if it's going to go up or it's going to go down. Instead of doing that, we're going to use the zero behavior. Okay, the exponent on x minus 2 is technically 1. The exponent on x plus 1 is technically 1. The exponent on x minus 4 is technically 1, even though it's not there. Okay, those are all, 1 is odd. So these all have odd numbers. So the graph should cross the x-axis at x equals k. So what does that mean? Okay, so let's start on the left. It's coming from here. It should cross here. So it's going to go straight through. Okay, I don't know how high it's going to go, but then it's going to cross through the next one. And it's going to come back and cross through this one. So this is a good sketch. Because it was going to cross, I knew it was going to go up, down, and then it's going to follow my end behavior. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, for number 2, the zeros are negative 3 and 5. Okay, let's figure out the degree. Okay, the degree on this, the 2 doesn't have an x on it, so I don't care. This is x plus 3 to the 1. That's x minus 5 squared. So this is going to be, now let's do this one first. If I do x minus 5 squared, I get x squared, and I get a bunch of other stuff. If I times it by the other x, now I get x cubed. And if I times it by 2, now I have 2x to the third. I don't really want to multiply it all the way out. I just want to know if it's odd or even. So this is odd degree. The leading coefficient is the 2, which is positive. So let me graph what I have so far. I have a 0 at negative 3 and 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, since I put marks, I'm not going to label them, but you should label them if you don't put a scale. Okay, I'm going to do my end behavior first. It's odd, positive. So it should go up on the right. Since it's odd, it should go the opposite on the left. Okay, now I got to figure out what it does in between these points. Okay, On the x plus 3, the degree is odd. So at x plus 3, I got x equals negative 3. The graph should pass through. So let me make the graph pass through. Passes through. Okay, when I get to x equals 5, I got that from x minus 5 squared. The exponent is even. So it should touch x equals 5, but it should not pass through. So what does that mean? It's going to go up. Let me go to x is 5. Okay, I want to go to x equals 5, but I don't want to pass through it. I'm going to go back up. Okay, which looks right because it's going to follow my end behavior. So at x equals 5, I didn't pass through. It touched it and then came back. Okay, that's a good enough sketch. If I had the y-intercept, I could have used that instead, but this is another way to do it without. Now let's try some more, because it's a little weird. Okay, this is x squared. That means x equals 0. The other one is a 3. Okay, the degree. Well, this is x squared. If I multiply this out, I would get x to the 4th. So this, if I multiply it out, is x to the 6th, and then a bunch of other stuff. Okay, but the exponent is even. And the x, this is positive term. So let's graph what we have. So at x equals 0, there's a 0, and x equals 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is even and positive. It's going to go up on the right because it's positive. Since it's even, it's going to match on the left. So I just need to figure out what's going to happen between here and here. And we could plug in a point, and we can still plug in a point, but we can also use the 0 behavior. Okay, at x is 0, it was even. So it's going to touch the 0 but not pass through. At x equals 3, the exponent is even, so it's going to touch but not pass through. So my graph's going to actually go something like this. I don't know how high it's going to go, but I do know it's going to touch at 0, go back up, touch at 3, go back up, respect my end behavior. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, zeros. I have this one. This is 0. X minus 1 is 1 and 4. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 4. Okay, I'm going to figure out my leading coefficient. This is negative 6x. This is something x squared, and this is times another x. So what is that? Negative 6x times another x times x squared times another x. So that's like negative 6x to the 4th and then some other stuff. So this is an even degree. The leading coefficient is negative 6, so it's negative. Okay, since it's negative, it's going to go down on the right. Since it's even, it's also going to go down on the left. Okay, let's look at the degree. The x doesn't have an exponent, so it's technically a 1. So at 0, it's going to pass through. Passing through. Okay, at x is 1, the exponent is even, so it's going to touch the 1, but it's not going to pass through. So let me go back down to the 1 and come back up. Okay, at x is 4, the exponent is odd, so it should pass through. So it's going to go something like this. Okay, it passed through the 0, it touched a 1 and didn't pass through, and then it passed through the 4, and then my end behavior should match up. If my end behavior doesn't match up, then I know that I've made a mistake. Okay, for the next ones, we're going to write the equation based on the behavior of the graph in factored form. Okay, so we're going to identify the indicated information, write an equation in factored form. So the first thing, I'm going to look at the end behavior to figure out the degree. Since it's going up on the left, it's got to be positive. Since it's also going up on the right, it's positive. Since it's up on the left, it's even because it's matching. So I know my answer should be even and positive. Okay, let me look at my zeros and try to figure this out. So my first 0 is at negative 4. So I'm going to put x plus 4 as my factor. It is passing through it, so I can just leave it as x plus 4. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next one. At negative 1, it's passing through. X plus 1. Okay, what's it doing at x is 2? It's passing through. X minus 2. And then at x is 6, it's also passing through. X minus 6. Okay, let me check this to make sure it's even and positive. Okay, so if I do x times x times x times x, I get x to the 4th. That's even. Is it positive? It's positive x to the 4th. If it wasn't positive, I could put a positive number in the front to make it positive. So that's a good answer in factored form, even though I ran out of room. Let's look at the next one. Okay, I'm gonna figure out the degree and the leading coefficient first. Since it's down on the right, it's negative. Since it's doing opposite on the left, it's odd. Okay, let me look at my zeros. Okay, it's passing through the -5, so x plus 5. It's passing through x minus 2, so x plus 2. It's passing through the 7, so x minus 7. Okay, if I were to multiply this out, x times x is x to the third, which is odd, but it should also be negative, so let me put a negative in the front. If you want to put -2 or -5, any number you want, you can, but I'm just going to put a negative. Okay, that's good enough for a factored form. Okay, let's try a couple more that are a little bit trickier. Okay, first thing I'm going to look at the end behavior. Okay, it's going down on the right, negative. It's going up on the left, so it's mismatched, so it's odd. Okay, let me look at the zeros. Okay, it's going, it touches -2, but it does not pass through it. So I'm gonna do x plus 2, but since it doesn't pass, it has to have an even exponent. I'm gonna put a 2, but it could be any even exponent. Okay, I'll go to x minus 5, it's passing through, so it's just x minus 5. Okay, let me check. This is x squared times x, that's x cubed, that's odd. But the leading coefficient should be negative, so I'm gonna put a negative in the front. It doesn't say it has to be just a negative, it could be a number like -2, but I'm gonna make it as easy as possible. Let's try one more like this. Okay, end behavior, it's going down on the right, so it's negative. Since it's also going down on the left, it's even, because it matches. Okay, first one, 0 is x, is -5, so my factor is x plus 5, and it's passing through, so it's just normal. Okay, it's going to 0, but it's not passing through it, it's touching it and coming back up. So I need an even exponent. So I can put x minus 0 squared, or I can just put x squared. Okay, and then it's going through the 3, and it's passing through, so x minus 3. Okay, let me check this. This is x squared is x cubed times x, that's x to the 4th, that's even. It's supposed to have a negative coefficient, so let me give it a negative. Okay, so this will work in factored form. Okay, last one. Okay, write an equation for the function in factored form and then transform to standard form. So let's start at the same. This is f of x. Okay, let's see. Let me start with the zeros and I'll figure out the sign. So this is passing through -5, so x plus 5. It's passing through the -1, so x plus 1. It's passing through the +9, so x minus 9. Let me check my end behavior. It's going up on the right, so this should be positive. It's going down the left, so it should be odd. Let me just check. X times x times x is x cubed. It is odd. It's also positive x cubed, so I can leave it like this. I could also put a number in the front, but I have to multiply this out, so I would rather not make it harder than it has to be. So you could have a different answer, but I'm trying to make it easier. Okay, if I do x plus 5 times x plus 1, I'm going to times it out. X squared plus 1x plus 5x plus 5. I am going to times it by the x minus 9, but I'm going to do the like terms first because I don't want to times out all that stuff. That's 6x plus 5 times x minus 9. Okay, I still have to times it though. Okay, what am I going to get? I'm going to get x cubed minus 9x squared plus 6x squared minus 54x plus 5x minus 45. And yours could be different, but you should have 6 terms. Okay, let's fix this in standard form. X cubed minus 3x squared minus 49x minus 45. Okay, now this is standard form. And I only did standard form because they asked me to. If they hadn't asked me, I would have left it in factored form, which was the beginning, just because it's so much less work. Okay, if you wanted to double check that this made sense, it's odd and it's positive, so it's going up, it's going down. The y-intercept is 0, -45. It could be, it's down there. And then hopefully I multiplied it correctly.